Once again I welcome you all class 12 students in a new video lecture based on Chinese economy. When we are talking about Chinese economy, we will divide the Chinese economy in two phases. The first phase, which is from 1949 to 1972, or the second phase is after 1972 to till now. The first phase is known as Chinese command economy, and the current phase is Chinese new economy. So first we will understand the China after the Second World War. During Second World War, there prevailed widespread unemployment, extreme poverty, and worst economic exploitation in China because of its continued struggle with Japan. The economy was in ruins. बहुत economy was hampered. So all the big industries and manufacturing houses were owned by the foreigners. Out in China, a civil war between the Communist Red Army and the national government led by the Chiang Kai-shek. By the end of 1949, all the Chinese proper was controlled by the Communist, and the People's Republic of China was officially proclaimed on the 1st October 1949. And after that, the era of command economy started. Mao Zedong government, like that the Soviet Union, brought all means and instrument of production and distribution. Means of production means the factories, bank, railways, all the commercial establishment was owned by under the ownership of state. Similarly, the state also took control over the railways, water transport, industrial unit. The agricultural land was also distributed among the peasantry. By the initial years, Chinese leaders laid great stress on industrial and technical development. There was great paucity of funds required to procure advanced technology. There is no doubt that the Russian government helped China in that difficult situation. तो यहाँ पे आई वांट टू टेल यू, यहाँ पे मैं बताना चाहती हूँ कि मतलब चाइना ने कम्युनिस्ट गवर्नमेंट की शुरुआत के साथ रसिया के तर्ज पर अपनी इकोनॉमी को स्टार्ट की, और एक कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी और कम्युनिस्ट इकोनॉमी वहाँ पे विकसित की गई, जिसमें कि सभी जो प्रोडक्शन के साधन थे दैट वाज ओन्ड बाय द गवर्नमेंट. एंड हियर आई वांट टू टेल यू दैट रसिया हेल्प्ड अ लॉट in revival of Chinese economy. So it was a phase when Russia helped a lot. So state controlled model of economy, or the communist model of economy, was create heavy industries accumulated from heavy industry sector from the capital, which was accumulated by the agricultural income, as it was sort of foreign exchange and it needed in order to buy technology and goods on the world market. China decided to substitute imports by the domestic goods. This model also allowed China to establish the foundation of industrial economy on that scale, which was not previously exist. So employment and social welfare was assured to the citizen. Every citizen have employed there. Everyone have minimum standard of living. There was many welfare program was running by the government. The people were getting many things on the subsidized rates. So the citizen were ensured with the better health and better living by the even not better but the minimum standard of living by the government was ensured them as the subsidized rate. The economy also grew at a respectable 5 to 6%, but an annual growth of 2 to 3% population. So this the growth in the economy and the growth in the population. Due to this 2 to 3% growth of population, that created insufficient to meet the need of the people, and agricultural production gradually was not sufficient to generate a surplus for industry. So a similar crisis faced China, as we saw during the disintegration of the time of the disintegration of the Soviet Union. So Soviet Union and China faced the similar crisis. Then the growth, its industrial growth, production was not very fast, international trade was very minimum, and per capita income was very low. That's why the Chinese government and the Chinese leadership wants to take a major policy decision, and this major decision which was taken by in 1970s changed the economic policies of China. It changed the economic policies of China, and in 1972 China ended its economic and political isolation. मतलब चाइना ने जो विश्व आर्थिक और राजनीति से अपनी एक दूरी बना रखी थी, अकेलापन, उसको इसने एंड किया, ख़त्म किया, और 1972 में इसने यूनाइटेड नेशन मतलब यूएसए के साथ अपने संबंध बढ़ाने शुरू किए. इन 19 प्रीमियर जाओ एनलाइन प्रपोज्ड for modernization program, that is for modernization mean agriculture, industry, science and technology and military in 1973. By 1978 the leader Deng Xiaoping announced the open door policy and economic reforms in China. The policy was to generate higher productivity by investment. So they were seeking that higher productivity by the investment of capital and technology from the abroad. China also followed the path of market economy. It means that China think about move towards the capitalist economy, and but China was took a smart move. It doesn't move like the Soviet Union. It doesn't choose the method of shock therapy, but it opened its economy step by step. In 1982, the privatization of agriculture was done, and it was followed by privatization of industry in 1998. Trade barriers were eliminated by the special economic zone where foreign investment could set up enterprise, and in China the state play and continue to play central role in setting up market economy. तो इसमें भी ऐसा नहीं है कि स्टेट की कोई भूमिका नहीं थी, स्टेट ने वहाँ भी भूमिका निभाई और उन्होंने एक अहम रोल प्ले किया. उसके बाद हम यहाँ पे कहेंगे कि जो ड्यू टू न्यू इकोनॉमी आने से चाइना का जो इकोनॉमिक स्टैग्नेशन था उसमें कमी आई, और प्राइवेटाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर के कारण वहाँ पे द एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्शन राइज वेरी मच, एंड ड्यू टू इट rural income was also increased. The high personal saving in the rural economy lead to exponential growth in the rural industry. Chinese economy, including both industry and agriculture, grew at the faster rate. Then the new trading laws and the creation of a special economic zone also helped to increase foreign exchange in China, and it also become the main destination of the FDI in anywhere in the world. It helped China in upliftment of its economy. So now we will talk about how command economy is different from the new economy. So first we will talk that when China started the privatization of agriculture, during the command economy, agricultural growth in China was very low, and it was even feeling a crisis to feed its own people, and it was a time when China collective farm was replaced by the privatization. The income of agriculture increased, rural income was increased. Then we will talk the second difference, that under the new economic policy, a special economic zone were established in Shanghai and many other coastal towns, where the foreign entrepreneurs had freedom to set up factory and start industry, and which we talked previously that China become the good choice investment point in the world, and even in order to promote foreign direct investment, industries were given many concessions, and China become the attractive destination for FDI, especially by the American investors. Then we can see that after negotiation that continued for a long period of time, China finally became a member of World Trade Organization, and China now decided to open the economy to many new areas such as banking, tourism, telecommunication, and in the year 2004, foreign companies entered in the insurance sector also. So then the law relating the acquisition of private property for public use has been changed. The new law do provide a fair compensation to those agriculturalists whose lands are acquired for the public means use. इसका मतलब है कि वहाँ पे जो गवर्नमेंट अपने डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट के लिए जो भी ज़मीन वगैरह लोगों के लिए उसके बदले कंपनसेशन उनको मिलने लगा. तो इट वाज अ ग्रेट चेंज when we are talking about the China. So due to this new economic policy, China has emerged today the world's largest producer of steel, cement. China's share is more than 60% in world trade turnover. With the sustained growth of 9 to 10% in past many years, foreign companies are paying heavy pay packets for their skilled workers and managers. So as a result, in China, a new class of affluent young professionals has emerged, and this led great economic inequalities between different social classes. Then we will talk about the UNDPDR, that United Nations Development Report in 2004 says that despite formidable growth rate in China, young people still face प्रॉब्लम. तो यहाँ पे ये नहीं है कि चाइना में न्यू इकोनॉमी आने से वहाँ पे सारी समस्याएं ख़त्म हो गई. रिपोर्ट में ये भी कहा गया कि अभी भी वहाँ लगभग 12% लोग जो हैं वो बहुत ज़्यादा गरीबी में रह रहे हैं. बट इन स्पाइट ऑफ इट, China today is remain a major global economic power, and it is have emerging growth. China would become the world's largest economy till present time, and we can see that many incoming reforms and fiscal finance and cutback subsidies on. So we can see that China is a emerging economic power in the world. Now we will talk in the next video about the Indian-Chinese relation. That's all for